a fist bump. So I ain't gonna lie, we started off strong with those walkouts, and then we just got smiles after that. But you know what? I love the hearts from Surf, and Cruz won, I think.
Yeah,
that little dance. Yeah.
I mean,
incredible moves.
Yeah,
I mean, I love
totally.
that though. It shows that a couple of them at least are feeling loose coming into this one.
Yeah.
They're trying to loosen up when they get on stage. And I mean, the OPTIC guys, they are taking this seriously.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
basically, if looks could kill.
And Fox had a little cheeky smile. I stole the word cheeky from you.
That's fine.
Okay.
You can have it.
Okay, fine. I'm taking it.
I don't think I use it that much.
Yeah, but now you can see how heartfelt they are, you know. Man, Jess, I know you're a coach. You always love saying that. But these moments, you know more than anybody how much this means right before the matchup. They are feeling the nerves. They are feeling the pressure.
I mean,
You can see it in their faces right now.
No one is going to understand the body language of a nervous, stressed player better than their coach.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's probably looking at every single player right now, reading their body language, understand, okay, who's in what mindset, and then giving them words of affirmation. That's what you want. You know, a leadership position to stand there and give that to you, and then when you're inside the game, you look into your IGL, your shot callers, to also give you that statement of affirmation as well. OPTIC, I'm glad they're respecting their opponent here. XERXIA is just someone that, you know, you don't know what's going to come out of the gate.
Okay, and I believe we are ready for the Prime Gaming Agent Select, getting that information up on your screen right now. So, Bren, what are you thinking? You just went, oh wow, so it perked me up a
I mean,
little bit.
it was
Okay.
I was more surprised at how fast it came up on the screen. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't get time to acknowledge it. It was just up there. And I'm like, okay, I've got to break it down. I've got to break it down. But
get to work, Bren.
there
Here
is
we
a
go.
difference here. There is a difference here. So I was surprised. Obviously, we were all surprised that XERXIA actually picked Icebox. It's one of the maps that they have not performed well on in the past, and the comp that they're using, they are switching things up. Normally they play this double controller comp with the Omen. A lot of teams in North America actually, tending towards that comp, but now they're playing the Sage. So honestly, I'm a big fan of this one still. It's a bit more of a standard comp compared to what we're used to with Icebox, but yeah, it still does work.
My heart breaks not seeing the chamber there. I think on Icebox, I've seen it in EMEA. I've seen it multiple times work through and through and through on this map. I just don't, I don't know how my heart feels now that it's being taken away. Is it because they lost so dastardly in their last match against Paper Rex with it? Is that what that is?
I think it's because of who they're up against. They're up against Ye on Chamber.
Sure.
I mean, this guy is a demon. I mean, he's literally El Diablo is who they're up against, man. It is going to be an insane series.
All right, who is taking this crucial initial match? I'm going to hand it from the tall-small trio to the tall-small duo. Ball and Doug, let's go.
Ball, I imagine it's tough being the small of the tall, small duo here. Look, I've been working at it, a lot of time in the gym, but I am actually leaning forward right now because I am so excited. Fall off of what? What do you mean? I'm so excited to get into this match. Ball, a lot of history here. We can talk about the rematch. We can talk about the matchup between these two squads, but I think for OPTIC here, you've got to be careful, right? Like, you go into this unprepared, this could spell disaster.
This is a dangerous team. I mean, I think we've seen that through the APAC Challengers, but also last year at Champions. So, especially OPTIC, who has experience with it, they have to be prepared. This is a possible team that could catch them off guard if they start to feel themselves a lot, especially on Icebox.
XERXIA kicking things off on the attacking half here, and it's a bit of a slow start. Early on, they tested waters a bit, made some noise A, and looks like they're turning their attention mid.
Yeah. They do have the wall with Cruz. You could use that to potentially either mid-split or go all the way up towards A, but they opt to go down the orange lane.
It seems like they've gotten a good bit of room to work with so far. As they've gotten onto site, wall goes up, Spike should go down shortly thereafter.
That's a deep wall.
It is. Whoa! Well, wall's not going to protect that. Two massive kills out of Sushi Boys. Crashy's trying to trade it back as OPTIC try to figure out how do they get back in this thing, and Crashy's is doing his best of it, but perhaps Surf can be the one that keeps things back.
There's a flank.
13 HP, no, he falls. Oh, man. Oh! Well done. Well done.
It feels like they're shooting them from every single angle on the map.
And the flank was there, right? Like, it looked like they had what they were doing, but wise game sense out of OPTIC to nip that in the bud.
Yeah, well, XERXIA ends up coming through with all the different angles, the flanks, and that deep wall that I was talking about. So good at actually just completely canceling that snowman. But when you mentioned Sushi Boys, those first two kills, he did a great job deep down there where they're actually trying to regain the space. And that's crucial on these mid splits. So right into the anti-eco for them. OPTIC not opting to buy into that, of course. And even no Marshall for Ye. He's just going to stick with his headhunter.
Great start out from Cruz. Look at Ye. Look at Ye, sneaky son of a gun, trying to go hunting. Does he realize there's someone in garage, though? Oh, no. No, he doesn't. That's unfortunate.
No. They've also got Surf so advanced on belt. So he can spot close 410. He could see if anybody's rotating out. I don't believe he did, but Sushi Boy's going aggressive again, and Marge shuts him down. And they don't have that space, but they don't expect also somebody to be lurking all the way up danger. And once again, it's one of those chaotic rounds, Doug. Yeah. Just like Pistol.
Now, Ball, let me ask you this, as it seems like this round will go in favor of XERXIA. Last time we saw them, it was Envy, X10. X10 walked away with the dub.
Yep.
You watched it, right? You were there.
Everybody
what
did.
Was it? That if you can point to one thing, right? Like if there was one thing that we have to keep an eye out for here.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I think Platchat would mention the Joyous Whimsy buff because
the Whimsy, yes.
It did feel like X10 back then was playing with a level of confidence, just dry swinging a lot of different angles. And I think that's much the same, but for me, I think this team has learned something. When I watch their games through APAC, it feels like they choosing to go for things like aggressive pushes when there's no noise somewhere, and that can get them a lot of advantages and a lot of information early. So this first gun round will be a great example of that, to see how they spread the map.
Oh boy.
Again, that's another time where Ye gets caught unaware of a close angle when he's trying to go for these aggressive pushes.
Yeah, trying to get a little spicy with it, caught on the retreat. We'll see if Finesse has better luck as he's worked his way.
There's more than just Finesse here.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got Victor and Marv too. Marv falls and there's no trade. He doesn't peek off of it, neither does Finesse.
Surely you're not expecting the rest of that, right? Yeah, look at Finesse.
So is this the idea the entire time, to get this quick flank down, but to trade Marv's life for that? And there's an alarm bot in place too, so this really doesn't get anything.
No, it really doesn't. What would have potentially been a worthy sacrifice just kind of becomes neutered. Cruz gets a spike down.
Spike planted.
It's going to be a 3v5 to try to retake the site here. Yeah, and Finesse ain't having anything to do with that.
Player standing.
This is Balla. This is looking clean.
Yeah, it is. Last time we saw OPTIC against the guard on Icebox, things started out pretty good as well. And there's
What?
What?
What was that? What was that?
Just straight through the wall. I'm literally reminiscing about old games. Yeah, okay. That might be the Joyous Whimsy right there.
That's whimsy. That's exactly what that is. That's whimsy. Unbelievable.
That's ridiculous. And right off the bat, there was an example of the types of things that XERXIA can take really good advantage of. Ye pushing, and then they're just slowing it down and using that space on the side of A that they've gotten. And that baits OPTIC into a false sense of security. Well, actually not a false sense of security at all. They're going for the plays to try to get back into the round because losing their superstar.
XERXIA cozy with an early lead here as OPTIC finds themselves back on 2 marshals and pistols the rest of the way. No ultimates to work with. Crashy's within sniffing distance, but that's really it. While Scary, who I have this gut feeling we're going to talk about him a lot, does have that Viper Spit in his back pocket.
That he does. This is the moment where OPTIC, well, cozy on the back of sight. They need to be careful. In these next couple rounds, this is where XERXIA can start to run away with things. Just an eco here, but the money, look at the bank on the side of XERXIA. So much. If that starts to really, really creep up, that's where XERXIA gets so scary.
Marv gets a little something to think about, has to back up, and with that, XERXIA gladly waltz forward, take the space. Different wall this time, not nearly as deep as we saw previously, but the spike goes down all the same.
Alarm bot also right on top of it. Nanostorm 2. Have to deal with this post plant. We saw DRX earlier do a great job of keeping them off the spike taps.
Remember, OPTIC don't have much to their name here. Spike continuing to tick away. That Sheriff
here
certainly does a little something, but you have got 2 players who are stuck behind the wall. You see the knife go through. Finesse is just waiting. Trap waiting for a moment. Yeah, trying to find some space, but there's just nothing. Wow. Nothing doing.
These are clean rounds, Doug. 4-0. Right off the opening, and this is where things get dangerous. We talked about how this is a threat for OPTIC. Right off the bat, they have to take this team seriously, and this is why. The bank for XERXIA. huge.
To the moon.
It's so big. And I want to take a second to talk about the different walls that XERXIA is using. You obviously use the wall for the mid-split deep on Snowman, but this time, very much different. It's not curved the way that you used to see on the old Icebox, and that's to actually block off the hut angle as well. So you saw how difficult it was to get out for OPTIC. And when they lose these early picks over and over and over, anti-eco, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But those are the types of things that really slow you down, especially if you're not used to it, and everybody's still trying to get their feet wet on Icebox.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few things here, right? Like, first map on stage, right? Like,
that's
while
a big one.
it's a big one,
This is the first time we're seeing OPTIC on stage since Berlin.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
ridiculous.
And that ended in disaster, right? So you kind of have to work through some of that. I know it's early on, but Bala...
disaster. They were second place, Doug. I want to...
Oh, Berlin. I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry. Man, you totally threw me off the thought. You messed me up. But no, I do think, like, for OPTIC, we mentioned it, you've got to be careful, right? Like, you can't sleep on them. And that's the other thing, too, is, and by no means am I suggesting that OPTIC are, because we know how they're built, right? Like, they succeed off of preparation, right? They put in the work. Finesse is a legendary IGL. So, if there was a Valorant Hall of Fame for IGLs, he's probably going to be in it one day. That's a good idea, by the way, Riot.
Yeah, let's go.
Take that.
Did you get royalties?
Yeah, 5%.
I think this is a tough map and team to prep against. So once we see this map starting, I mean, obviously we're looking at it in hindsight so far only the first 4 rounds, but I think it's difficult. Look at this set lineup here. They're going fast off the lane. Surf actually ends up messing up his updraft, but still not punished for it.
And Marv was stuck. Somehow manages to stay okay. Yay. Whiff on the op.
That knife just got so many players. So Victor knows how this rotation should come in, but still plenty of time. And with that advanced drone, they actually take the yellow lane.
Off the flash, Marv swings out. Gets one, looking to find a second, not able to do so. Yay, with the operator still in play. As he dances around back yellow, seeing if anyone's going to be bold enough, brave enough to give him a little bit of skin to look at.
Could happen.
Oh, dear. Well, that worked out quite nicely.
Yeah. That was an advantageous situation for Surf there. So thankfully things even out, but early on, Marv stuck in that advanced white position. It's the same thing that happened earlier on when he peaked mid, right? He's note traded. There's people here in position to be able to do that, but they just don't.
Down,
big kill out for Ye. With that operator, and now XERXIA off that. They're finding the adversity resistance really for the first time all map. Now they find themselves
oh my god!
in a pretty brutal number spot, and it just went from bad to worse. My goodness. That Ye guy. Yeah, he's good.
That was nasty. How fast that was, man. Wow. And intricacy at the end of that round. They actually drone late, crash these all the way up tube, and that gives all the confidence for the players to continue to fight all the way up towards yellow, where Ye eventually gets those kills as well. Look at this. Jeez.
Ye still with that operator. He's also got the ultimate to work with, but big ult should deny entry towards A.
Which hasn't been that much of a problem so far for OPTIC.
Right.
I mean, there's the one round where Ye went down early because he tried to play aggressive. And I say that, and XERXIA looks like they want to actually go right back towards that Viper's Pit. And why? Because they have the Killjoy lockdown.
I have the spike.
To put this down and flush Marv out of position. So what do we have from the other side of OPTIC to respond? No commands, potentially a knife to delay if it comes back in time, but I don't think it will.
They do have the Hunter Siri, if that becomes a factor. It doesn't seem like they're going to opt for it, at least not yet. Smoke falls, there it is. But Sushi Boy's able to trade it back out. And the res come through in the lockdown, but you're right, now the Crashies is down. There's no Hunter's Fury to counter that out. Marv still playing in his pit, falls. Courtesy of Zerf. XERXIA with such a numbers advantage, and now they drop their own green goo.
Wow. And I'm not even sure how there's a flank going on for FNS right now.
Spike planted.
You know, the interesting thing, too, is XERXIA have done such a good job of protecting the flank, right? Be it the alarm bot, be it the turret. Of course, as I say that, Finesse finds an opening on the flank, so.
He still has to go through the second layer of Foxes. One thing, though, look at Ye. Look at him. He's so far away. He's already decided long ago that he wanted to save this
he's
op. And that's the theme with OPTIC recently, especially with this role change that they've had. Ye has been very much keen on holding on to that op. I'm curious how that Viper's pit actually works in the back of sight, because I haven't seen somebody ult up in towards Nest. And we'll see it right now, because this is, it still gives that little foot angle.
Yeah.
And also it's on top of heaven. Usually it doesn't actually cover that entrance. So it's quite very interesting to see if we might see that again. Not only just this game and the next as well. Interesting to know.
Quite nice. So XERXIA continue to pile it on to the North American bridesmaids. I get it, bro. It was bridesmaid. Yeah, it's a bridesmaid.
Yeah, because they're never the bride.
Right. Yeah. I get that
so why do I have to explain that to you? You're a married man.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, that's a good point. Not my best moment. Yeah, fine. Okay. But for XERXIA, right? Like they have found things that are working. OPTIC haven't been able to find footing of their own, and you mentioned a couple of rounds ago, Ball, and this could kind of roll out of hand, right? Sure. If they don't shore things up here pretty quickly.
And this is another one of those examples.
Yep.
Exactly. Where you don't want their money to be reset. Thankfully, they had the op, and they could potentially have dropped weapons into this round. So it is a full gun round, and they have capacity to stop this. The other important thing, too, even though Crashy's dying really tilted the round in XERXIA's favor, he has it this round. So a little saving grace in that whole experience.
You're reaching.
I am reaching.
You're reaching.
Hey, man, 2 North American casters. At this point, we got to be reaching.
That drone, nice. Drone gets cleared out. Crashes, though. Oh, he did get the tag. The Hunter's Fury takes care of Cruz. Not going to spot anything else.
That's the wall. That's very important. If you're wondering why he opted to go for that, obviously he gets the drone tag. You want to go for those, unless it's the Jet. Another peek in mid.
Oh,
Scary wins it.
Wow.
And he's backed off all the way, too. That pulled a little bit of rotations over towards mid. Marv's going to counter-challenge.
Creeping his way forward again, but this time it's Scary who's playing a bit back. And again, left. They have the turret. Got ways to shore things up. Sight has been lost to XERXIA. Yay, doesn't land the op, but the Headhunter seems to do just fine.
The turret went down.
Yeah, 3v2 now. Spike ticking away. You still have Marv going on this long burn.
Yeah, he's very low HP.
He's so weak, but you're not expecting Marv, right? You're not expecting Marv. Spots one, cleans him up. Nice shot out from Ye, third on the round. OPTIC gets it too.
And that's the op from Ye. He saved it through. Obviously, the shot out to Sushi Boys didn't need it, but very well handled. The first tag from the drone from Crashies to get the ult kill onto, of course, Cruz. Massively impactful. They plant up the top of Nest. You could get a wall down there. That could change the entire story. As XERXIA did get a couple of picks going into that one, so.
Well, and even to water that down a bit more, you just take whatever win you can get at this point, right? Like, there's maybe been one round that OPTIC have had a numbers advantage in up until now. Yeah. So, yeah, take what you can get.
I mean, we have to start talking about Ye, the way that he's hitting the shots. I mean, OPTIC is down, but right now 7-4. And this was the man that did not let them go down on many different occasions. But specifically, I'm thinking back to that V1 game. They did eventually lose that in North America Challengers, but he made it so long before we actually ended up crowning a victor in that last map of V1 OPTIC.
Yeah, he put up a fight. Put up a fight for sure. Still has that operator that's been hanging around for a couple of rounds. Still has the tour de force in case for some reason that falls out of his hands. OPTIC in a spot here where they should be able to put a couple things together. Thankfully, it was a brief technical pause as we're right back into the action.
Yep.
I'm actually really impressed, Paul, at how methodical XERXIA has been on their attacking half.
It's quite impressive. The set slow on the back of White. Oh, hold on, XERXIA again. Finally, Ye gets the advantage when he actually peaks aggressively. And that's key. You have to continue to be doing that. If you stop, all of a sudden, you don't have to put anybody towards A.
Well, and it becomes a mental thing, right? Like, oh, I'm not winning these opening duels. I should back up a little bit more. Shoot or shoot. Ye's a shooter, man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
So off of that early pick from OPTIC, XERXIA decide to flip the map and venture out over to B. The Cloudburst to provide a little bit of cover. No swing out. I like that.
And be careful here. XERXIA does not want to full commit, knowing that actually Victor has a no command. And if they do, that Viper Wall will fall and Cruz on the other side of the map. He couldn't even provide the barrier orb.
look at how far up he is and how much it's drawing rotations over from OPTIC, right? There were 2 already that way in the name of Ye and Crashies. Now you've got Victor, who's joined the party as well, and XERXIA walking right into it, Paula.
Really slow to break this wall, too, so they can't counter-challenge super fast with the Crashies. Just have the shocks.
That hurts.
Oh, blocked by the line of sight.
Nice shot out from Cruz to drop Crashies. You heard the null command come through. As Cruz continued to try to anchor the site, to try to hold OPTIC back, and he seems to be doing so rather admirably, of course, until you run into Ye. Marved on that flank again. We've seen this before. Ooh. Perhaps a slightly different outcome. Crispy shot out from Scary.
Again?
Yeah, I mean, but what do you do?
The crazy part, though, is both of these instances where you save the op, he has his tour de force, right?
Yeah.
And obviously the money is kind of important in situations where you don't have much tools, 3 HP. Definitely a good save, definitely a good choice, but you have to start wondering how the ult economy is working. He's not actually spending his orbs, he's not getting that tour de force out, and that kind of counters the economy he's saving by saving the op in the first place.
What do you think? Do you think, Balla, in this instance, OPTIC could just look into a situation where perhaps they drop the op to someone else and have Ye use his tour de force? Is it perhaps too late in the half to really get as much value? Because at that point, you're really only looking at 1 tour de force in half, right?
Oh, yeah,
like, it's so late.
That's a very good point. Absolutely a very good point. But you have to wonder who is starting to frag in this situation as well.
Yeah.
Would the double op even help in this situation?
Right, on attack, yeah, probably not. That'd be difficult to find value out of. And again, you see economy, you see the guns. Marved has a rifle, and Ye has a trusty old sidekick.
They're continuously challenging both Marved and this time Ye over towards this white lane, and Ye goes down. This is so interesting. XERXIA really winning these fights against Ye, even when he is fragging.
Nice shot out of Marv to try to equalize things. Remember, they don't have much as far as guns, but perhaps this Vandal's all they needed. Eventually falls by the wayside. The Classic does it, though. His Crashies with 14 HP, tries to reposition, tries to turn around, tries to stay alive, and ultimately meets his demise. Finesse with the Sheriff in a 1v2, 25 armor to his name, and is left with the unenviable task of trying to keep XERXIA at bay with not a whole lot other than him.
Only hope is they actually don't go to the site. But obviously that would be a very bad play, to say the least, given the res.
You know what's interesting here is there hasn't been a ton of whimsy out from XERXIA, right?
Yeah.
They're not doing it that way.
Yeah.
They look very drilled, they look very clean, they have a game plan that they've kind of stuck to, right? And it's working.
Yeah. I think there's an element of OPTIC playing into them.
Yeah, sure.
For example, the Ye duel that's constantly happening. We talked about the benefits of doing that. But on the flip side, you're playing the game that you're playing. And I know that sounds really dumb. But you're playing you're playing XERXIA in this case, right? You're playing XERXIA, and they're receiving it very, very well. And each time you lose these rounds, it starts to get even worse for you. There hasn't been an eco round on XERXIA's side at all.
Money to the moon, as we mentioned. Different approach here out from Marv as he uses the Viper's Pit to be. XERXIA not seeming to mind the approach as we see the tour de force. The tour de force is working. He's already got 4 as a chance. At 1 more. I mean, you give him the ace, right? If for nothing else, and for feel good. But Fox stops it.
Well, there was some whimsy there. One by one.
For us. Yeah. But worked out from OPTIC, right? Like, Ye gets online, the tour de force does its thing. It's back in the operator in his hands. And honestly, Balla, you look at that round and that's why, like, you understand why they're so hell-bent on making sure that he has that weapon or the operator in his hand.
Yep. Well, this was actually the slow is impactful in that case, and the fact that he continues to swing. I do have to point out the fact that Ye is bringing out some new chamber TPs. You saw from that one, he was all the way down kitchen, back to boiler instantly, and on the A site before XERXIA could even respond in that case. And he's consistently picking the right places to take his early fight.
Victor with the swing and the shots onto Sushi Boys. Numbers advantage, once again, in favor of OPTIC. Well, right.
You speak, you get in trouble. Slowing right down. You're right, Doug. This is XERXIA really, really reading the map well. In certain instances here, they're going to have to drone to clear Marved and also spot Ye. Those are the win conditions here. If they don't do one of those, and Ye could immediately shut it down.
Yep, so far, so good. No drone, no nothing. Ye just with the opener. Gets challenged again, has to give the space up. But he keeps the op in play.
Yeah, important part. They pushed him off, but Marv's on the back. There's a flash from Victor, and he gets the kill.
Lockdown's through. Nothing really to counter back, so they have to give the space up.
They don't know Surf is deep. Look at this. They don't know he's here.
Oh, and he lands one. Repositions, waiting, anticipating the flank, and it was there. Looking for the challenge, takes care of Finesse, tries to go up top, falls. It's just Sushi Boys alone in this 1v2. Spike not down. But he's got, actually, he doesn't have a ton of time or health. For that matter, as OPTIC get to 4. That was scary, though. That was close.
Yeah, that was a little sketchy down the end, especially in the orange area with Surf finding that first kill. And almost escaping as well. If Crashes wasn't all the way up kitchen.
Yeah, he gets away.
Yep. Big flash there from Victor for Marv to swing off of. Didn't actually get the assist, so I don't think it blinded him, but distracted him enough for Marv to stay alive for quite some time. And that's the thing that I think has been missing so far in the entire situation right here for Victor. Potentially one of the things he's focusing on right now is making sure he's supporting his team as best as possible. And he has been that guy when you watch KO play.
Another methodical round out from XERXIA. Slow, this time using the drone to get a bit of room to work with, a little bit of info down below. There's no one there this time around.
Yeah, Ye finally choosing wrong. And the final round of the half, look at the presence that OPTIC has. And this is because XERXIA has been completely ignoring. Once again, another tag. But Marv, he's getting aggressive.
My goodness, and it's working just fine. Clean round out from OPTIC. Maybe I've spoken a bit too soon. Numbers advantage for OPTIC, though, still. Sushi Boys and Scary left alone.
They can't let Scary actually get an ult down here. If they do, things get much harder for OPTIC, and they're actually going all the way back towards A, and he will get that ult down. So how to clear, because Crashes has to wait for his dart to come back, and it should sometime throughout this period. But they get the ult, and that makes things a lot easier. Remember the last time I talked about how switching sites would be a death sentence? Maybe it was, after all.
We've also got Victor with his ultimate. You hear the spikes start to go down, and there's the Viper's Pit, as you mentioned. Ult countered back.
No mollies available to slow this down.
Sushi Boy's playing down in hell. Not understanding there's somebody literally right above him, and it's Ye with the operator. Oh, it's almost like he knows. It's just Sushi Boys alone, and Sushi Boys falls. Ye, he was there all along to clean things up.
Look at that recognition on the gap in the Viper Pit. Yep. That is so smart from Ye.
Yeah, so really all things considered, given how XERXIA started off, their half was very dominant for OPTIC. They made a couple of adjustments to get it to a 7-5 half. That's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No. We're going to throw it over to the desk to break down what they saw in the first half. Jackie?
Doug and Bala, thank you so much. And XERXIA, ice cold on Icebox. You know, when we were watching map bans, we were a little bit shook that they made that choice, Jess. But I don't know. They were starting to even out at the end there, though. But yeah, we're still surprised by the map pick.
I mean, absolutely. And sometimes you can, you know, throw something at the wall and say, oh, well, they got pistol. Of course, they got second. The round count looks like that. If you take those away, they're even, Steven. Sure, no problems. Put any technicalities you want. It is without a doubt that whilst I criticize them on picking Icebox, I had no reason in their previous play, at least that we have knowledge of, that they should go there. But now there is a clear play. They've prepped this going into this. I don't think they've necessarily prepped it specifically for OPTIC. I think we would see this in future games as well, but it's a nice plan that they have going here on Icebox, and whilst it's not the most dominant attacking half on a map like Icebox, it is convincing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And a big part of that is how they've been shutting down Ye as well in this half.
They were
I mean, OPTIC, they're making some adjustments. Don't get me wrong. They are kind of clawing themselves back into this half, but Fox and his utility has been a huge component in the fact that they've been able to spot out where Ye is, punish him consistently, time and time again. And it's all down to that mid-round information for them to be able to spot him out. Now, OPTIC did try and adjust this. You know, they put an operator in Ye's hands to try and lock down those long sight lines, and that did start to work for them. That's why they've managed to make it this 7-5 half. But the question is now as the side switch around, what else does XERXIA have up their sleeves? Because now they're going to be swapping the sides around. Have they got anything else cooked up, honestly, on the defense side of them to try and take away this upset win on this map?
I love if you look at the two highest rated players thus far for the side of XERXIA on this map, it's their Viper and their Sova. I just love that for them. You know, they can have their supportive players come out of the gates and just show that, yes, while strategically they have some clear set plays. You heard Bowler reference a couple of the walls that they had changed ever so minutely across the site with the new Icebox coming in as well. Super important, blocking those lines aside. And we saw a new Viper's pit over towards A. I mean, we got a little bit of everything, and it's only the first half.
Yeah, I mean, OPTIC, it was definitely a little bit of a slow start, and Ye was getting shut down early on. So what do you think OPTIC needs to clean up then, Brent?
Well, they've already started that process of trying to clean it up as well, and that's making sure that Ye isn't so readable when he's pushing into these deep angles. Okay. They've also been doing fantastic jobs of setting up kind of these little trap plays with Victor's flashes, but now the sides are swapping, and they are going to be on attack side. And OPTIC in the past, on Icebox, have looked inconsistent. Sometimes it purely has been the Ye show, Ye and friends, El Diablo against the world. So it needs to not be that. They need to showcase that they've come into this with more than just that little bit of prep. They are clawing it back, but they should be winning this map convincingly.
All right, well, we are ready to continue this series, and I'm going to hand it over to Doug and Bala. Doug, get off that box, by the way. You ain't fooling anybody.
I have no idea what she's talking about, and I'm personally offended.
There's
appalled.
No box here. Yeah, no.
What box? It's Icebox.
I'm standing right here.
It's Icebox.
You're just tall. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, come on. All right. OPTIC, claw back into it. Get us to a decent spot. Right? Now they're the ones on the attacking half.
Brent pointed out something important there at the end, right? They're switching that attacking half, and they don't have those things that started working really well, which is the set trap plays from Victor and Marv.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You just kind of wonder...
How do they apply that to the attacking side is the question that you ask. And it's difficult because he's not playing that jet. So he has to be very methodical, and somebody else has to take charge. Maybe that is Victor in this instance. So slow.
I mean, so quiet. You can hear a pin drop in this thing, and there it is. It erupts the dash. He falls, but not without taking one with him. Wall goes up out from Cruz. You know how devastating a wall can be in a pistol round because it takes all day.
That denied the plant just then, right? In front of Jen, right? Normally that looks like the attacking side wall that she plays down to actually plant. But in this case, Cruz maintains control of the 410 side with the slow, or with, who is it? Surf and the entire trade that went down in that situation. And then gets the wall down so they can't approach. And with how quiet this has been and how long they took to even make that approach, there's only 30 seconds left. And we've got Sushi Boys on the site. It's got the turret to make contact, and then the Nano Swarm.
Plan B out from OPTIC. There's the turret. Gets popped almost instantly. The shock dart, a little bit of everything thrown its way.
The knife missed.
If your Sushi Boys here, you're kind of okay with giving up the space, right? The Nano shows up a little bit late, but you understand you've got reinforcements that are on the way, and perhaps that can be enough to tip the fight back in their favor. First Headhunter shot misses, second, third does as well, as the clip runs dry. And that is enough for XERXIA to creep their way forward. The tap, that's enough for OPTIC to swing out, and Crashies gets 2 massive kills. Marv gets 1 on top of that. As Scary's left alone in the 1v3, too many targets to look at, not enough time as OPTIC take the pistol.
Yeah. Difficult situation there. I think they really banked on the fact that OPTIC potentially was coming back, but I think Sushi had the great setup with the turret and the molly to actually use and delay, but he had to play so far back because of the potential for the KO knife to come in and actually disable the ability to put down the molly. So not in time, doesn't delay enough. His team is coming back to try to fight, and it's a little too far gone at that point. Right back into good post-plant positions.
So cool.
The round was indeed so quiet. It was. Now OPTIC with the advantage here. You see it in the guns. XERXIA decided they want to take the fight to their front step. Perhaps might have been better off to play a little ding-dong ditch, as they've got numbers falling all over the place. And OPTIC just continue to push forward.
Yep. Prepared for the success conditions at Champions for XERXIA. And their eco round's very strong. They prep a lot to actually take, and that was another one right there where they pushed. And that's common, but dangerous. So OPTIC, well done to handle that, and they tie it up after all that we've been through so far on this map.
And this is where we talk so much about Valorant being a momentum-based game, right? Like, you feel the tide shifting. OPTIC were kind of down at first. If you could, like, draw it out on a line chart, you're feeling some of this trajectory swing back their way.
Yeah.
And it seems like the momentum can only grow from here. This is where XERXIA needs to do something different to kind of snatch things back their way. This is where you're looking for a big play.
Yeah. And that might come in the form of Surf. He's got his op online in the 3rd round of this half. And he's already right positioned where OPTIC is coming.
Flash, doesn't hit, still in the spot. 3 massive kills out from XERXIA.
How's that just happen?
What a response. What a response.
Scary had such a random angle and he shot 2 bullets.
Yeah, we gotta run that back. Gotta run that back.
And all the momentum. I mean, Crashes was just asking why it's so quiet, but that just sucked all the energy out of OPTIC right now. And Yay and Victor are going to try to actually clear out, but look at this crossfire here. Surf can peek off of Scary, unless they creep up on him.
Which they are. Surf.
One enemy
waiting
remaining.
to see where the last one was. Yeah, they fall apart. Prime Gaming Flawless comes through as XERXIA punch right back, and now Balla, the question is, we've got to remember that that was the bonus out for OPTIC, right? Now, we take a look at how things will look.
Yeah, the question is, what was those shots from Scary?
What was those shots from Scary? Come on, bro.
What is that, man? And he breaks the knife. So they get the escape potential. Wow. 3 bullets.
My Vandal doesn't do that.
I've seen it do it.
I was about to say, I know you want to roast me, but don't. I left the door open. Don't walk through that. So now, as we mentioned, OPTIC, they have guns. They have a little bit of firepower to their name. Crashies. Oh, excuse me, not Crashies. Yay. On light armor. Look at Surf, bro.
And Victor's throwing a flash to actually deter him from doing that.
And it didn't.
And it didn't at all. However, it might have actually deterred him from not going further.
Yeah, that's true.
Look how they're actually, you see in the on the backside, the X-ray.
Yeah.
They're trying to jump spot it, but Yay definitely feeling himself there, getting ahead of what's actually cleared.
Yeah.
Yay's usually really good at that.
Mm-hmm. And once again, the round comes to a screeching halt. As OPTIC decide how they want to approach this. We mentioned the pick, the opener out from Surf.
The wall again.
It's early this time.
Yeah, I think they expected with the fact that the knife and the drone and everything was coming in at the same time. Trying to time it. Well, are you kidding me, man? That's a tilter.
It's whimsy. Seems like they want to double down on their efforts. Hey, the thing about that Sage Wall is it forces you to go around into this like 50 angle where you have to hard swing, and yeah, Cruz is just waiting for it, but Crashies from up top is able to trade it right back. Operator still in the hands of Surf, but OPTIC, while unlikely, have a chance to fight back at this thing. It's gonna have to fall on the leader for the green wall, and he's not able to do it. XERXIA, 2-round lead.
And that's potentially breaking the money now of OPTIC. And it will be.
Yep.
Only enough for a couple pistols, potentially a Marshall, something like that, a little bit of armor. But Headhunter, Vie fully stocked. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. In the backside of that, Surf obviously can't see them, but they're shoulder peeking way back outside of A main. Way back. You can see FNS is jumping, jiggling, trying to find whether the op is pushing forward.
30 seconds left.
The entire team of OPTIC was prepared for that. You could see how they were flashing him off the angle. They're ready. They know that that's a possibility. And yet, hey, just a little too far ahead.
So Chet calls the timeout for the North American representatives, and they have to figure out how they, again, find themselves in a bit of a deficit in the second half. How do they claw their way back into this thing? Because it hasn't, I mean, it hasn't been pretty, right? Like, it hasn't been clean. The rounds that they have put together have been close.
Yeah, well, XERXIA's looked cleaned, I'd
yeah,
say.
XERXIA has OPTICs.
And the rounds that OPTIC has, especially on that first half, were very nice to watch. I would say that this is an enjoyable game so far in terms of tactics and just general how they're reacting to each other. And on the new Icebox, that's such a fun thing to see to start out here for both of these teams. I have to wonder, I think the key to victory from now on is stacking the ults in order for OPTIC to really start to get advantage. This means Crashes has to find something out of his Hunter's Fury right now. They need to get Marv's to start getting his ult up, and so that when they get the site, they can really control the momentum. And Victor's as well, obviously, super impactful.
Ball, as you were talking about ultimates, there are a couple that are right right around the corner, right? Like you can feel him coming in the likes of Victor. You've got Marv and Ye, both very, I mean, finesse too.
It's essentially hold on until at least that cascade can come through.
And the truth is, at this point on this pistol, yeah, of course, ideally you want to win the round, but any damage that you can do to kind of set yourself up for the future helps.
I'd say damage good, but also make sure you're in a position to actually get those ults. And then we continue to talk about it. OPTIC just feints towards A, and they go right up towards kitchen. Sushi Boys is waiting.
Oh boy, just around the corner. Ooh, bit whiffy. That was a Pansy classic, by the way.
Miss her.
Yeah. Sorry, Pansy, we missed you.
That's not whiffy.
Down, B.
No. This guy is on point. You know, the comparisons to Patty, Jess doesn't want us to do that. And I think I'll set them apart in a sense right now, because watching Surf, especially in this game already, you can see the differences. He's not as aggressive. He's more of a pure opper. And in some instances, that's better because you have him consistently hitting those frags early.
Well, we find ourselves in an interesting situation because Crashy should be able to get the timing on the flank. Finesse has upgraded a weapon. So they've got a chance at this, but they have to find value out of the flank. Crashy has to find something, or else Victor does it, whatever. Either way, I mean, the thing is, the spike is ticking.
This is a tough round no matter what. They've got the ult as well from Crashies to secure this.
Surely not.
Enemy remaining.
Neither of them are one tap from it.
Oh my gosh, surely not. Right now,
not
like
again.
this.
Not
again. Like this. Okay, he got him off on one. I don't think there's going to be enough time for the second. The shot. The lands. It's through. The Red Bull clutch out from Crashies to avoid disaster.
Yeah, and the last time I felt like I've seen that, it was disaster. Everybody remembers his desperation ult against X10 in that group stage upset.
Yeah, that one hurt. This
time I really thought it was going to be like that again. I really thought that that was going to happen, but thankfully, clutches it out.
The truth is, that round was so difficult for them to get into that point anyway. So perhaps to say avoid disaster is a bit disingenuous, but they trudged through all sorts of mud to get to the point where that was a winnable round.
Yeah, and now XERXIA has to be aware that that's a tool in their kit, right? Walk up mid, feint towards A, feint towards B, whatever it might be. They need to be prepared. Sushi was there, but there was too far spread. They were really focusing on those lanes, and Surf did a good job out of yellow, but not quite enough.
Well, and it didn't help that Sushi missed the shots in kitchen, right? Like, he lands some of that.
Yeah, it's an anti-eco, so yeah, maybe
he's able
to
convert it. Yeah, he's able to convert it a bit. So quick timeout coming out from XERXIA. Is OPTIC once again, much like we saw in the first half, although the deficit wasn't quite as big. They're down, things turn, it's just enough for them to get back into a decent spot, a fighting spot. They're just down one to your ball.
What a great opening map, Doug, for this series. I mean,
I'll take this.
And a good Icebox too. I mean, that's something that we sometimes we're wondering how this map will go.
It can be hard to come by.
It's so variable in the sense that teams not only can play differently, but also just that the map play is very difficult, and there's a lot of chances where things like that happen consistently on the map.
Double op here, one for each side. As Surf has his, and Ye back to his operating ways. You've got the ult. Yep, about to drop. Well, maybe a bit premature on that.
Well, I'm more focused on Marv's ult right now. I mean, I know XERXIA is in the driving seat, but that's the one we're talking about. I mean, they just won based off the Hunter's Fury. XERXIA's exploring. This is what we were talking about, how teams can get caught off guard, because when there's silence like this, and we actually haven't seen it that much so far on Icebox, there can sometimes be 3 players behind you if you're not careful as OPTIC.
Scary, drops the ult. There's no wall here, like we've seen a couple times out from Cruz.
Look at how reactive that was. Obviously, we mentioned how he paused at the beginning of that, but just reactively placing it on the potential plant spots. But instead, OPTIC walls over towards the left side, something that G2, who we're waiting for in the playoff stage, has been pioneering to get the plant down on the left side of the site.
Bro, the patience out from OPTIC is just nuts right now.
I mean, they've been stopped, though.
Oh, but they've made it up to 410. They have their own ultimate that could drop down to help kind of at least counter a bit, create a bit more chaos on the site, and they aren't doing it.
I think they're trying to wait for the knife right now for Victor to potentially stop post-plant utility from falling on them when they do drop what they're talking about.
There's the knife. The nade. Still, patience at the helm Finesse starts on the tap, decides to pause just for a moment to decapitate Cruz, and then continues on his way, but eventually falls. There's the ultimate that's being countered. Sushi Boy's now looking to go hunting. Scary falls from up top. He lands a shot, but that's all it's going to be, a 1v2. Marv not able to convert it in his own pit.
Wow.
XERXIA, 2-round lead again.
That is so good from XERXIA. I mean, there's details in that. You saw how there was actually a snakebite kill in that instance, because they actually had to push so long inside of the pit from Scary, so that reactively putting down the Viper's pit, so good in that instance. How do you work around that? I think you have to just go to the other site in some instances, or maybe push in towards screen, something else, but OPTIC already committed after they put down that wall, so tough spot to be in. Again,
you want to play, let's play.
They needed the ult cascade to really come in there. They used the Viper's pit themselves, and
right here.
Right now, there's not too much else outside of Ye with the Tour de Force.
Sage wall goes up. They want to hit a mid-split here, but the thing is they don't have B long control, and Crashies gets a judge to the face. Okay. So if it's going to work, it's going to have to be through mid, and that's it. The Hunter Suri trying to create some more space. Sushi Boy's getting all sorts of information. And for OPTIC, another unsuccessful round. XERXIA seemed to get to 11. Unless Victor can do that. Oh, but
next time this happens, he's peeking with him. Wow. I mean, that was a nice shot, but we got to have more than that. They went for the kind of the thing that worked last time, right?
Yeah.
Where they walked up mid. This time they go fast with the Viper, or with the Sage Wall to cross, but not enough control on the backside of B. And
I mean, no control on the backside of B. Yeah.
Back to guns, and unfortunately, the only potential ult here is Finesse's. And there's even low econ for Ye, no op for him either. And they are tilted a little bit towards this middle side. Look at XERXIA, not wanting any possibilities of them doing that again.
I really like that, but my goodness, OPTIC are ready for it. At least it seemed like they were, but the kills still go in favor of XERXIA. They drone through the smoke, or through the orb. Was that so hard? while two swing out from tube. That was pretty.
Yeah, that was gorgeous. And again, it's because OPTIC has been leaning there so many times, and that type of play is potentially what's going to put them on that point here.
Certainly seems to be that way. A slight advantage, but an advantage nonetheless for XERXIA here in the 20th round of the opening map in this best of 3. And you see for OPTIC, given some of the shenanigans that took place across the middle of the map, have to choose to slow down, reconsider how they want to approach this round. They have B long control, and look, you can see it pinging on the minimap. They want to explore up to kitchen, but guess what? Sushi Boys, he's there. Oh no. If he gets the timing right, this is going to be problematic. Fox and Sushi Boys going hunting. It doesn't get any easier than that, Ball. It really doesn't.
Spike down B.
All up to Crashies.
Standing ahead.
30 seconds to retrieve the spike, fall back into a position, but how do you even plant?
Yeah, you don't have a ton of options.
Nanoswarm could come in, Shock Darts as well in that position, but he gets it down and tries to cross, and that's the difficulty. Sushi Boys with the 4K, and XERXIA with map points.
Now, not nearly as much at stake as the last time these two teams met, but you talk about things and you go, or you talk about the previous matchup and you go, perhaps it was a fluke, right? Like perhaps OPTIC just weren't having a day, the whimsy, all of those things, but XERXIA are putting together a very impressive first map.
Yeah. I mean, I'd almost make the case that this is more impactful. I mean, obviously there's a second chance in the lower bracket.
Right, that's what I was getting at.
No, I know, but they're going against Crew, and that's the lower bracket Kings, right?
Yeah, it's unlucky.
And King Slayers, in a sense.
Well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. XERXIA with the Operator, a rare miss as he dashes back. Here they'll come through, push him off site. Viper's wall goes up, but have you accounted for Cruz? My goodness, you haven't! My goodness, you haven't! Cruz with 2 big ones, but the res drops, and perhaps that can be the opening that they need.
Him up.
Yeah, perhaps that can be it. Oh my gosh, if only he pulled the trigger in that moment.
He's up.
The round swings right back in favor of OPTIC. Perhaps Sushi Boys with the lockdown can make something happen. Marv trying to hold fast. The nade should clear things out. That's pretty. 3v2, OPTIC, Spike ticking away. XERXIA have to push forward to try to take the site back. Sushi Boys left alone. Position given away. Him against the world, in a sense. Victor and Crashy's both weak, but Crashy's playing so far back. Has 2 shock darts to his name, too. This is almost unwinnable. Here for Sushi Boys. Yeah. Ain't nothing doing there.
No. Nothing doing at all. I impressed by the decision that they actually go for that. I mean, obviously there's a bank for them. But to put the lockdown as well, to invest into that when it's a 2 versus 4,
yeah.
They get the 2 kills early.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised at that too.
I mean, that is XERXIA in a nutshell, I think.
Yeah.
We haven't had to see it that much yet because of how, so far this game has been clean from them. But now that we're down to the wire, now that they're on match point, those types of decisions could come back to haunt them.
Yay with the operator, once again with light armor.
Enemy suppressed.
Decent bit of info gathered early on. That's all it is for now.
Once again, back up towards mid. Interesting that OPTIC's not even choosing to...
Oof.
Try, let me finish my sentence.
Yeah, no.
Try to break the alarm bot utility with the Sova shock dart.
It is interesting.
Instead, just opting to fight Sushi Boys head on. And they're starting really to roll with the ults. I mean, the way that they're cascading them right now, Marv is very close. If they can hold on for one more round, that could be another win condition.
That's a big if, but you're right. If they can get there, you've got a little bit of breathing room. Oh, my goodness, I thought that was a collat for sure.
They knew that was coming.
The wall reinforces just in time, providing safe passage for Finesse to get the spike down. Now 5v3 for OPTIC as they hunker down and try to keep XERXIA at bay. The op shot misses. EA teleporting away.
Wow.
As the spam starts to come through and XERXIA starting to fall apart.
That spam angle's new with the double stack box in that angle. Well played from Crashes, and OPTIC will hold on. And this save important. Surprised to see none of OPTIC chasing right now. They have a little bit of a bank for some of them. It might be up to Crashes alone, because if they do break the economy right here, they could put themselves in a position where they're fighting back for overtime right away.
He may have the timing. Oh.
It's a big groan.
That one just hurts because
we all see what's happening though.
But you're right? Like that's a if he does swing out and he's able to get to, that's big.
Yeah.
For OPTIC, that puts him in a really good financial situation.
The problem is that angle is so difficult to clear out, right?
Yeah.
So he's
so much
swinging on where they could be heaven, it could be in, you know, defender spawn. There's the spam. Wow. Off the ping from the dart too. That's pretty. So this time, XERXIA has guns in this instance. They have an op because they saved in the last round. And OPTIC has to try to make it towards overtime, fighting through the economy.
You mentioned the ultimates that are close for OPTIC. They're not quite online yet, but we're getting there. As you mentioned, the operator for Surf, holding down Belong. Finesse, the only one at a place where you could perhaps check it.
He's gone kind of quiet, Surf has.
Yeah, he is.
Even though he does have the op in this round. Look how many players are here while he's working the pick. At this point, this angle should have pulled other players off because they've set him up so well. He can dash away, he can get away. But they're setting up to bait OPTIC into this position, try to chase him down, and then face the wrath of Cruz as well.
Yeah, they're hard committing for sure.
I just don't know if that's the decision that Finesse is going to make, especially now that he clears this out, make sure there's nobody on the flank fast. And Marv's going to take the spike and go over towards it. Look at this, though. All the way away is where Sushi Boys is playing. He's got 2 mollies here to actually deny the plant for quite a while. One's up in nest, even.
Again, OPTIC find themselves with a bit of site presence, of site control in A, and it's a slight delay on the plan. Oh my goodness, Sushi Boys got one with the nano?
That was a death trap.
Perhaps Crashies has better luck. The shock dart right to his forehead.
Can't commit to it again.
Au contraire, my friend. He's certainly going to try, and he succeeds. Yay, looking up in heaven, not understanding. There are 3 players with the operator. Surf, you mentioned he went a bit quiet. Wakes back up in that instance. Barbed waiting for the flank, and he snaps onto Sushi's there? What is that? Oh, Crashy's. Crashy's alone in this 1v4 to keep it alive, and it's not going to happen. Surf gets 3. XERXIA get the defuse, and they take map 1, Bala.
That is crazy. I mean, that is a significant win here. Map 1, we're going to Ascent next. And XERXIA looks good, very good. And I'm not even going to go as far as to say that OPTIC, didn't in that case. I thought that there were certain instances of that. And we've seen how their Icebox can be a little weak, but that was beautiful from XERXIA.
Yeah, it was. There was depth to the way they approached the map on both halves. It wasn't reckless, right?
Yep.
Like it wasn't, I'm just going to run at you and hope that I can aim diff you or anything like that.
Yeah.
There were layers to what they were doing, which is really interesting to watch. It was exciting to watch because I think, again, for XERXIA, we're like, okay, well, what do you got, right? Like, because you are the underdog in this match, and they showed up in a big way, Ball.
Yeah, that was a massive first map win. Going to Ascent, I think that's a little bit more OPTIC's playground, for sure.
Yes,
but
yes.
Icebox, and this was unexpected, I think, from XERXIA to pick this map and to be so good at it. I think that, the Des was surprised, but everybody should have been surprised by how well they played right there. That's one of North America's best. That's potentially a favor for this tournament.
Yeah. Hey, like, XERXIA, Scary. We talked about him a little bit. Controller matchup, Scary's very good. He often finds himself putting XERXIA back in situations that they probably have no business being in. The interesting thing is it did not take those heroics out from Scary. I don't think he had a big moment like that, but he was just solid. He was consistent, put up good numbers to get XERXIA the win.
I mean, laid down that entire map. It felt like everybody started to fire on all cylinders. We saw that clip just a second ago from Scary. There was Cruz who was just rushing the site in some instances. Foxes on the flank. Solid from a lot of different players on XERXIA.